This is Rick. He didn't want to be filmed today, but you pressed play again, and here, Rick is already on board the Titanic, the largest and most luxurious liner of its time. Rick doesn't yet know that this voyage will go down in history as one of the worst maritime nightmares. The ship, almost 300 meters long and as tall as a multi-story building, was astounding. It was the length of 3 football fields, and it was built over 100 years ago. On the upper decks, there is music, restaurants, and luxurious lounges. Wealthy passengers drink champagne, dance, and enjoy the ride. It's a floating palace, where every evening is like a ball. Rick, of course, is not there. His cabin is below, in 3rd class. Cramped bunks, noise, the smell of food and sweat. There is no luxury here, only cheap seats and crowds of passengers. From the deck, Rick sees how fast the ship is moving. In the pursuit of records, the captain doesn't slow down, despite warnings about icebergs. Confidence in the ship's unsinkability makes everyone too calm. But suddenly, in the night, a dull thud is heard. An iceberg scrapes the Titanic's side, opening long holes in the hull. Rick wakes up, and the floor beneath his feet begins to tilt. At first, he thinks it's an accidental malfunction on one floor, but the water quickly rises below. People panic and run through the corridors. For 3rd-class passengers, many doors remain closed, and they are unable to escape. There are more than 2,200 people on board, including passengers and crew. But there are only enough space in the lifeboats for half of them. Disaster is inevitable. Rick pushes through the crowd and makes his way to the surface, but he loses time, and the lifeboats are already being lowered into the sea. On the upper decks, the orchestra is still playing, and the elegant ladies in dresses are unaware of the scale of the danger. At this point, the first fatalities had already begun, drowning in their cabins. The sad fact is, the hull bulkheads didn't reach all the way to the top. Water spilled from one compartment to another, and the ship was doomed, despite appearing unsinkable. Rick watches as the lifeboats leave half empty. People argue over who gets to sit, but Rick doesn't get a seat, so he's left on the deck. The ship tilts, and people begin to slide, falling into the water. Rick clings to a metal handrail and feels his hands freezing from the cold. The ship creaks. Under the enormous pressure, the metal breaks, and the Titanic is torn in half. Rick falls into the icy water, along with hundreds of others. The water temperature is near freezing. A person doesn't survive long in such cold. Within 15 minutes, their muscles go numb, and within an hour, most die of the cold. Rick finds a life jacket, but it doesn't keep his head above water, and Rick chokes with every wave. The chance of salvation turns into yet another torment. Rick grabs a barrel, trying to hold on. The water burns his body, his arms tremble, and his muscles no longer obey him. Cramps grip his legs, and every movement becomes torture. The physiology of the cold is merciless. At first, Rick's breathing is rapid and ragged, then slows and his heart beats twice as fast. Then his brain gives in, and a false sense of warmth sets in. The screams of hundreds of people can be heard all around, but after a few minutes, they begin to fade. The silence is more frightening than the noise. Most people die very quickly. Rick looks up at the sky. There is a clear, starry sky, one of the most beautiful ever seen. The contrast with the horror around him makes what is happening even more terrifying. Rick's body gives out. His blood thickens, his heart slows, his muscles stop responding. He holds onto a piece of the door, but his strength is completely gone. Finally, Rick lets go of the door and quietly sinks below, diving into the dark water. Of the more than 2,000 people who survived, less than half were saved. The Titanic will forever remain a symbol of overconfidence and the fragility of human life. Subscribe to Rick, he needs strength.